A truly disappointing third period for the Avalanche as they fall by a score of 5-2 at home against the Minnesota Wild. Second leg of a back-to-back for the Avalanche. And it certainly looked at that certain points of this game, Spring. The beginning of that second period where Minnesota had the puck and had Colorado hemmed into their own zone. And then the third period, um, it just kind of fell off a little bit. There's a little chintzy goal in the 5-on-3 after Colorado kills off two of those 5-on-3s. An own goal goes in to make it 2-1. Colorado gets a lone power play opportunity in the third period. They failed to record any grade A scoring opportunities on that power play. Another weird bounce goes in off of Sam Malinsky's skate, makes it 3-1, and the game was effectively over. That's a disappointing result for the Avs tonight.
I mean, we can certainly talk about the officiating. Now I don't look. Certainly the Kale McCarr slash, the broken stick. On was that Yakov Trenin?
Yep.
Former Av Yakov Trenin. Not to be confused with Yakov Smirnov. That's just a guy whose name I've heard before. Yeah, it didn't look like he broke his. It looked like the torque of the shot and the blade sticks on the ice, and that's what caused the break. Now, I'm no scientist, I'm no physicist. Kale does slash down, hits more towards the blade of the stick. The contact with Kale's swinging stick to the moment that Trennan's stick breaks, it is bang bang. It is right there. I say that's why I say I'm not a scientist. I'm not a physicist. Can you slash the bottom of the stick, and because of the torque, that actually causes it to break in the middle?
I mean, it was a
Short of
one-handed
that, it
slash,
was not on
man.
Kale.
It was a one-handed slash, if that. The slash did not cause the stick to break. The wrist shot or the snap shot caused the stick to break. It was straight optics that was called from a referee that was partially obscured from the play. It was a very bad call. You get a pretty weak high sticking call or a cross check, whatever it was, on Val Nichushkin, where he kind of just like runs into Matt Boldy and his hands were up high. But like
Yeah.
that happens all the time in this league. And we saw it happen in front of the Avs net during the 5-on-3. And it's funny, to add insult to injury, Brent Burns backhands a puck into the 14th row, and now you have to kill off back-to-back 5-on-3s at a full 2 minutes plus. I think it was like 3.5 minutes of 5-on-3s that you have to end up killing off. And you do successfully until this own goal goes in. I thought the weak call was made against Makar. I thought the weak call was made against Nichushkin. And then Eriksson Ek catches Devon Taves in the teeth on a shot that goes wide from Quinn Hughes on the 5-on-3. And directly after that, Eriksson Ek is the guy who scores the chintzy goal to go up 2-1. Did they lose because of the officiating tonight? No, I thought they lost because they didn't have a power play goal when they needed to. And I'm upset with the officiating. I thought the officiating was complete shit in the second period, and it kind of took control for a little bit of a game that was really entertaining to watch. Like that thing was a 1-1 hard checking up and down, fast paced game. The neutral zone was great to watch, and the referees just sucked all the fun out of it in the second period. And Colorado just simply couldn't come back. I don't put it on the refs, but the refs put the entertainment out of the game for me.
Well, and another thing on the broken stick is Kale immediately is befuddled and animated.
Yeah,
And
you
you
don't see
never
that.
see Kale get like that. So he knows if his stick is responsible for the break, and he clearly felt it wasn't. And then Kale also went up to the refs after the Nichushkin, what they call cross check, high stick. I don't even know. Whatever it was. And Kale's just like, guys, it's the NHL. You usually let that go. So that's two times that Kale is talking to the refs. The first one, he was very animated, and you don't see him do that, period. And he does it twice. So that should tell you something when Kale is doing that. It is unfortunate because they're down 1-0. but they've been playing well. Then they started to play even better. We've seen the Avs in this spot this year. After the first wild goal, for the next some odd minutes, they're playing well. They're buzzing. You could feel the momentum building. Sure enough, Marty Necas scores. What a shot! What a snipe! And so, you've upped your level. You work to get a 5-on-5 goal. You're still working after that. You're playing well, but then this weird broken stick call completely derails your momentum. It's a BS call when you're killing that thing. And it was almost like a self-fulfilling prophet. Like, you could feel that power play
Yep.
coming because of how weak the call was and just the way it halted the momentum. It's no excuse, but that definitely deflated the team. You
Yeah,
could
it certainly changed. It changed the flow of the game. And again, I'm not going to blame the loss on the referees because I think Colorado allowed themselves to, in a situation where you had energy and you were skating with Minnesota, who was coming off of 23 days of rest, right, prior to this game, you were there every step of the way. Now, the stretch between 18 minutes and 13 minutes left in the second period where Minnesota had the puck completely, um, I thought you were pretty neck and neck with them for the first two periods of this hockey game. And unfortunately, the referees took all of the energy out of the building. It took all of the energy out of watching the game for me, unfortunately. And then I think Colorado looked at that and then they took a step back. Minnesota was ready to go. Colorado was sloppy. Again, I thought the neutral zone was really good. Like, if I'm going to take away a positive today, the neutral zone for Colorado was moving and I enjoyed it. Now, when you go up against Minnesota, what they're going to do when they take that 2-1 lead, and you saw it in the third period, man, they are going to sit the fuck back and they're going to wait for you to come to them. They're going to do that thing behind the net, whether it's one player behind the net or they're putting two defensemen in each corner. They're going to force two forwards down there. They're going to stretch their forwards outside the offensive zone, and they're going to make you chase, then outman them in the offensive zone and go 200 feet back. So the key to playing Minnesota, man, when you're against them in the postseason, if you see them in the postseason, you got to score early. You have to.
Well, and we saw exactly what you mentioned in and around the key sequence of the third period where Quinn Hughes has the puck behind his own net. And oh my, I mean, you see guys be patient. I don't, that was one of the more egregious. Like, can you call delay a game at some point? Like, move the fucking puck, dude. And I get it. It's you're allowed to do that, and you're gonna force the issue and make the Avs make you pass that puck from behind the net, and you're just trying to kill clock. But holy crap, that was egregious. That was Quinn was he would have just put out a blanket
Yep.
and brought a picnic basket and started sipping on mimosas. He had no desire to move that puck. Then they do move it up the ice, and Ross Colton gets tripped along the boards because the Avs are pissed. They're like, okay, we see what you're doing. We're gonna go win this fucking puck because if you guys are gonna do that, then here it comes. We're gonna try to steal this damn thing from you. And they put the pressure on him once they force him into the O zone. Ross Colton gets tripped up by Nico Sturm, goes like shoulder first into the boards as he goes down. Really awkward play. And then the Wild want to get pissed about any, shenanigans after that play, after you just tripped an Avs dude into the boards. So, okay, from dribbling out the clock to, starting shit that you started, being a bag about something that you started, and then the Avs have a power play. Okay, you got a power play, and they do nothing. And this was one where I really saw it. Necas is on that left side with Nate, and Nate just doesn't know what to do.
Doesn't know what to do.
And they get in too tight with each other on the left side. They want to make a pass between each other, but they realize it's a pointless pass because it's only covering 10 feet of ice. And they're kind of you could see them communicating, like, how do we stretch out here? But they were just clogged on that left side. And it's hilarious, Raj. Nate just scores the one-timer last night when he has that left side all to himself. Guess what? When Nate's out there, you don't. You don't, and they have to figure this out, how they space those two on power play one.
Man, dude, I said it today on my show, and I heard Brett talking about it in the morning, and like Moj was scoffing at it in terms of the power play looked better yesterday. Did it not?
It did.
Like
Well, because they knew their positions.
they
Everyone
knew
had a
their
clear
roles.
defined role.
And I'm not a proponent of taking Nate off the power play, but I'd put him in the bumper. I would
Maybe
I
it's
would
Nate who
entertain
needs
that.
to
I
be the
would
one
put
to move around.
right, I would put Nate on his off wing, like I would or sorry, on his strong wing. I would put Nate over on the far right side and let him just zip down with the stick to the outside. Like I would try that, right? Because you are the worst power play in the National Hockey League as it stands right now. And again, I've said that I am wiping my slate clean at the restart to the season. So now they go 0 of 3 tonight or 0 of 2. I think they technically went 0 of 3. They got an extra power play at the end. So now they are 1 of 6 to start this new season. That's not good enough, especially when it's a 2-1 hockey game and you got a chance. And you know what? I'm going to call a spade here. We're talking a lot about Nathan McKinnon. Cale Makar needs to hit the fucking net. Hit the net. Like I'm so over Cale Makar walking the high slot and hearing glass. All I hear is like I wish I had a puck on me right now downstairs because I've got tempered glass on my desk, and all I hear anytime he has the puck is I don't have rubber down here, so I can't properly do it. It pisses me off. Like it's insane how many times I hear glass when Cale Makar shoots the puck. Shoot it into the dude's chest for all I care about it. You know what worked tonight? You know how the Eriksson Ek goal was scored first tonight? A puck hit Mackenzie Blackwood in the rib cage.
Yeah, Kale missed the net on that power play, the crucial one they had in the third. Nate missed the net.
All I hear is this. That's all I hear on the fucking power play.
Kale's miss was interesting because Philip Gustafson was so good tonight. Watching some of the goaltending at the Olympics, because a lot of the teams didn't have great goaltending, but Markstrom was starting for Sweden. Gustafson tonight looked like he should have been starting. He looked great. Like that was like an A goalie performance from Philip Gustafson tonight. Just his positioning was so good. He was one step ahead of him really all night. But they had him. He was beat on that one. He did not see Kale's shot. He moved the wrong way, but Kale missed wide. So man, if you could just put that on net, you actually had him screened. But one thing that is happening on this power play, or that was happening tonight, because Landeskog's back now. He's on power play one. No Nichushkin, no Lehkonen. They're off. Nelson is your right wing. But it's Nature's down low left, Landeskog down low right. But there's no bodies middle. And I know that Gustafson doesn't see the Kale shot that I just referenced, but what has always helped Kale's shots from the point is that line of traffic center in front of the goaltender. You're just not going to get the screens if Natchez is low left and Landeskog's low right.
What did we see yesterday, man? We saw those two bodies down the middle, and Cale was shooting for sticks.
Yeah, I don't know why it changed tonight.
And Cale's missed nets yesterday were off of tips. Like, all he was doing was shooting for the middle of the net and shooting for a tip and shooting for a shin pad. And now when they go back to having Nate on the side and Marty Natchez is like, I guess I'll stand over here. Now Cale's the number one option, and Cale hasn't hit the net the same way since like midway through last regular season. He hasn't. So let's see what looks good. Let's see what works well, even when Nate's not on the ice, and let's try and replicate that. Like if I'm if I'm Dave Haxtell and I'm Jared Bednar, why am I not trying to replicate what worked in the previous game? Why am I not trying to replicate that box plus one that worked a couple of times prior to this Olympic break? Why are you just going back and banging your head against the wall?
Man, I should have noted this last night. Who was out there on the power play instead of Nate?
It
Was
was this is how it
was
worked out. It was a 1-3-1. It was Cale Makar at the top. It was Val Nichushkin in the
it
middle
was
as the
Val. It
bumper.
was
It
Val,
was
yeah.
Marty Necas on the outside on his off wing, Brock Nelson on the outside on his off wing, and Gabe Landeskog in the middle.
Yeah, no, because you need to make Nate or whoever's on that left wing as comfortable as possible. And you need to give him as many outlets as possible. And one of that is a left-handed bumper shot. Nate loves to feed that thing. And so there wasn't that, unless Gabe is gonna, I guess Gabe has to occupy that area. They need to get Gabe more center then, so that Nate has that little shuffle pass, that quick little right into the slot. You have to have that for Nate.
Like, I'd prefer Nate to be that, though. At this point, like, I'd put Nate in the middle at the bumper.
Fine, you can do that. It's righty Natchez to righty Nate in the bumper. It's going to take that extra split second.
Or it's lefty Nelson.
Or yeah, start working Nelson on the right side more. Yeah, then Nelson can feed Nate in the slot. Or Natchez. You can just say Natchez, you're in the slots. If you want Nate, you can do whatever, because we saw last night Natchez has a bomb. You really can't go wrong between McKinnon and Natchez, whichever one is more comfortable playing more middle right. You gotta move one of those two more middle right.
Yeah, it was frustrating tonight to see them go, hey, we saw some success yesterday without Nate. And again, I'm not a proponent of taking Nathan McKinnon off the power play. I think that is a ridiculous notion. I'm a proponent of changing where he is. Like, you don't take one of the best players in the world off the ice in the power play, but you can change what the power play does when he's on the ice, especially when you had some success just 24 hours ago against a solid team in Minnesota.
I do want to say overall, 5-on-5, and they put 47 shots on goal in this game.
They're the better team 5-on-5. They were, as they are most nights this season against
it's like
most
Canada,
teams.
Team USA.
Right.
But okay, so Nathan McKinnon has 8 shots on goal in this game, but was it just me, or did it not feel like I didn't feel like there were many dangerous Nate looks in this game, and I didn't think Landeskog was that dangerous. To me, Marty Necas was the one player on the top line tonight that I felt like had a little oomph to him. Again, I know Nate had 8 shots on goal, and somehow this team gets 47 shots on goal, but I felt like Necas was the one who was maybe creating the most danger on that top line. McKinnon, while the numbers were there, I don't know. It wasn't that game for him, and Landeskog didn't create much as well either.
No, the second period were Nathan McKinnon's most dangerous shots. They had some pretty good sustained pressure, that top line, where they were able to cycle out, find Nate in the middle for those little one-timer opportunities that ended up not scoring. I don't know if he hit a post or if it hit off of a stick and went up into the stands, but he had a couple of really good chances in the second period. Outside of that, yeah, I thought Nate just was really solid. I thought Brock Nelson was buzzing early on in the game. Again, it was a good hockey game. Like, the result is worse than what the game was played at. It's just a shame that, like, you see Minnesota get chance after chance after chance in the power play. You kill off 2 5-on-3s, and they finally find a way to get it done. And at some point, like, you need to have some pride in this extra man unit. And when you're down by 1 goal and you get that one chance, that's what's going to be in the playoffs, man, is you're going to get that one chance to tie a game up or to win a game. And right now, the fan base has no faith in them. The coaching staff has no faith in them. And the players, most importantly, have no faith in their ability to score that big goal in the power play. Other teams can do it. As of right now, you can't.
I mean, it's crazy how Minnesota can just like center a puck and it hits off an Avs dude and it goes in.
Yeah, take a fucking note. Take a page.
Like,
holy smokes, take a page.
It's not, you're up a man. It's not that hard. Like, get the puck in the tighter area and, just create some havoc.
Yep.
Instead, they are looking for the perfect shot, and that's a product. Now Cale's missing nets because you're too wide, and you're just trying to pick corners instead of just center a fucking puck and see if it hits off somebody.
That's why I
Because
was
they're scrambling. They're on the PK. Their fucking heads are on a swivel. They're scrambling.
That's why I was a proponent of the box plus one. It forces a player in the middle of the ice and it forces two players net front. I was fine with the 1-3-1 the way that it ran yesterday because Kale was a shooter and shooting for sticks. I was fine with the 1-3-1 yesterday. I'm not fine with this version of the Avs in a 1-3-1 when they look for slap shot regatta. It's not the same without Mikko Rantanen. Just call a spade, right?
Yeah.
It is not the same without Mikko Rantanen in the 1-3-1. You lose a Hall of Famer over there on the left-hand side, and you can't continue to operate as though you're the same power play. We saw a couple of times today. Like, Gabe Landeskog's a great hockey player. I don't trust him to take that one-timer, dude. I don't.
I don't trust anybody right now.
It doesn't explode off his stick. It doesn't explode off of Brock Nelson's stick. They can both hit one-timers just fine. It doesn't come off the stick the same way it comes off of McKinnon's, Necas's, or Mikko Rantanen's. So freaking change something. Like, I it's a great point that you made, Spring. Both of those goals are weird, shitty, fluky bounces.
They're just center it to the slot. They're just centering it to the slot of the crease.
Chaos.
Slot crease area. They're just sliding those passes in. And, but you need to see the Avs have personnel that plays well in those areas. Lehkonen, Nichushkin, Landeskog. Those are the three players that when those pucks are in that middle. I mean, how many times have we seen like Arturi Lehkonen just slapping the fuck out of where he just thinks the puck is? And he's trying to jam that motherfucker in there.
Hell yeah.
Is Necas, if he finds himself in that area, is he that type of player that's just gonna bam, 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 get the fuck? That type of just slash down at the ice action I'm talking about. McKinnon, he's aggressive. He's got that fuck you in him and can do that. But we've seen Lehkonen, Nichushkin, Landeskog, when that puck is loose in there, they're just jamming that shit. And you didn't have two of those players out there. Instead, you're going with skill snipe guys out wide, and they're talented as fuck, but they're relying way too much on skill snipe out wide. And like you said, the right side isn't going to provide that. Nelson, whoever, Brock Nelson's shot is, I guess it's the best of what they have, and that's why he's over there. It's not great. So this, PKs are going to think we're getting a high shot from Makar, or we're getting a left side shot from Nate or Natchez. That's what we're getting.
I'm fine with that as the play. I'm okay with that. It's just, man.
I just want to get. I want to get like. I'm at the point where just get Lehkonen, Nichushkin, Landeskog in this little 3-man triangle in front of net. Feed that area and just see if those dudes can't just force something to happen.
I've never seen a power play quite like that, but I'll do anything. I'll try anything new. It was frustrating tonight, Spring. It really was, because again, it was a really fun, entertaining hockey game. And again, second leg of a back-to-back, like for you to be essentially even with the team coming off of 3+ weeks rest, I was happy with what they were doing through 40 minutes. They just allowed the failure of, one, the referees in the second period, and two, their own failures on the power play in the third to kill this game. The good news is you have a day off tomorrow. You can get rested. You can welcome in the Chicago Blackhawks, who you should have an easy time with. Let's be pretty honest about that. It should be an easy time on Saturday against Chicago. But 1-1 to start off these 5 games in 7 days for the Avalanche coming out of the Olympic break. They'll see Chicago coming up on Saturday night. After the Chicago game, they take on, I think it's LA on Monday. LA on Monday, Anaheim on the back-to-back on Tuesday, and then 2 days off before you finish off a 3-game road trip. And this is another big one, right? That is a big-time showdown on the road Friday night in Dallas.
Yeah, that sure is. And that's going to be the third leg of their road trip. After playing they'll get a couple nights off, but a back-to-back, like you said, to start it. I don't know. It just, it feels like what we saw tonight was, how they played going into the break? It just felt like that. And they're 100% healthy. And
I didn't feel that way until the third period.
Okay.
I thought they played a good, fast, hard checking hockey game in the first two periods, and I think they got away from it in the third. The third period, I agree with you. I thought they looked wishy-washy and not engaged physically. The first two periods, I disagree with that take. I think the first
No,
two
no,
periods they
don't
were
get me wrong.
fast, they
It
were
was
hard checking.
good. It feels like scoring's hard right now.
Scoring, that's the best way you can put it.
Like they're
Scoring is hard.
getting the look, like they're getting the volume, they're getting the possession, but they're not like a lot of their shots tonight. And I thought Gustafson did make some quick reaction saves, but they felt like it was just enter the zone, quick play, shot, save. A lot of that.
Face off. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and we know somebody, we know that they're adding. We know they're adding to this team that they got the 10 to $8 million in cap space. But even so, you know the offense is going to get even better. But it shouldn't be I shouldn't be feeling, oh, they need to add something to the forward group right now because they're 100% healthy with, Olympians and everything, all this star power. That should be a luxury at this point instead of something that I'm feeling like, it's almost as if they need to add a forward to this team by Chicago on Saturday.
Yeah, the scoring in the bottom six concerns me right now. Like, this is one of those games that you really wish someone would have stepped up in the bottom six and pumped one home, because I still think the bottom six played all right tonight, but it never felt truly dangerous.
No.
That's where you're going to see the Avs over the course of the next, 12 days before the trade deadline, something like that, something close to that. You're going to see them in a lot of talks concerning Vinny Trocheck, concerning Ryan O'Reilly, concerning Nazem Kadri. I think they're going to take a pretty big swing for a third line center. I am really, really convinced that's what part of the Sam Girard deal is, not only making space for Kale's extension in the offseason. You opened up, like, they have so much room at the deadline this year to take a big swing. They are going to get rid of a future first round pick. And I think they're going to bring in a big time centerman with term left on his contract. And I think it's going to be one of those three. Because
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they fixed it, but like, they addressed defense.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Kulak's solid.
Yeah. No, and they just needed a trustworthy 6D, left-handed shot too. Ideally to play with Malinsky. I think Girard's better than Kulak. Kulak's a little bigger, but that was just, you needed to shed a little money and you needed to replace Sammy with somebody competent. Okay. Like, they did that. Now I think you have to look at forward. And because look, Gavin Brindley, 652 tonight. Like, dude, you actually can't play him right now.
He's hitting that wall.
You can't. He's actually, I don't want to say unplayable, but he's pretty close to unplayable right now. Like,
yeah,
if this was the playoffs, I don't think you can have it on your fourth line.
Yeah, I think he doesn't profile as a fourth line player, right? Like, Gavin Brindley, when he truly breaks into the league, is a second line wing. Like, that's where he is best suited to play in this league. He can't be a fourth line winger in the postseason. You are 100% right. I also believe he's hitting that rookie wall, right? This is the first time that he's playing north of like 50 games in a regular season, right? He's coming from the college ranks. You don't play that much hockey. I do think he's hitting that rookie sophomore wall, and I think he's a good player. I think he's got a really good future and upside. I think he can be a Logan Stankoven type of dude, but that's not right now, and you are a right now hockey team. So I don't want to see them move him, but like, if it cost Gavin Brindley to go out and get Kadri, O'Reilly, Trocheck, I'm not going to say no.
And it might take that. He might. I mean, he's of the guys on the roster, he's the one, short of a money thing, which would be maybe more Colton, which is funny because right now he is your best in the bottom six. Look, Parker Kelly's had a great season, Parker Kelly, like that's a guy. He can be that's a fourth line winger on a cup team. Parker Kelly, like that's he's not where Cogliano and Helm were at that point of their careers, but I think he's reliable in that way. But he's playing third line right now, which is fine, but ultimately you probably want him on the fourth line. And this is where they're looking. You need that third line to be Colton with player to be added. And if it's a center, then Drury's your 4C, which that's probably the best role for him. Man, it would be, I'd say in a perfect world, you're adding one of the centers you mentioned that everybody's mentioned with Colton and Logan O'Connor on the wings.
Yeah. How nervous are you about that right now? Every day that passes that I don't hear news on Logan O'Connor, I
feel like we've gotten some positive sprinkle updates. He's skating. Bednar spoke somewhat positively about him, but I'm just, I don't think, I think Kiviranta's out. I don't know if Olofsson's in. I don't know if Victor Olofsson's in. You know what I'm saying? If this was game 1 of the playoffs, I don't know if.
Oh, I think he's a lock.
Do you think Olofsson's a lock?
Yep.
Okay.
I think Olofsson's a lock.
Okay.
He's good enough. He's shown that he can play in the postseason with Vegas. I think he's a lock.
What do you think? Third or fourth line for Olofsson?
Third line.
Okay.
Third line.
Okay. Then OC would, and if OC has any juice, then maybe he would have to be fourth liner no matter what, just because he can only give you so much.
Yep. OC's a fourth liner for me. He's penalty kill specialist and some energy. He plays 12 minutes a night for you, maybe 14 minutes on days where you have to use him a little bit more if he gets back in the lineup. I do think Olofsson's a lock. Kiviranta, yeah, maybe concussed. He got hit pretty hard by Zach Bogosian. I don't know, man. They're going to make a move, but
I know. I'm telling you, man, we got mystery player X. There's at least one bottom 6 player coming, and it's possible it's somebody that, because the Avs are so loaded in the top 6, that it could be a top 6 guy playing on your third line. I almost feel like they need that right now because the offense is playing well but can't score.
That'll get fixed against Chicago.
You put Kadri, I'm not saying it's Kadri, but a player of that ilk on the third line tomorrow. That's what I need to make me feel a little better about things right now.
I just get nervous about Kadri's contract length. Man.
I know.
That scares me. If he comes over and there's no salary retention, I'm really nervous about that. I'm less nervous about O'Reilly because of the length of his contract and the cost. I'm less nervous about Vinny Trocheck. The Kadri, the last 3 years of those deals, man, those could be really sketchy for him.
Yeah, you would need them to retain the salary, and apparently right now Calgary doesn't want to, but that could change. It's funny because they have the money for Kadri right now. They have the money for him right now. The problem is, would they have the money for him in 2 years when Kale's making $1 billion, and also Kadri's 2 years older, 2 years closer to 40 years old?
I see a bunch of people on the comments saying the trade deadline is tomorrow. It is not. Guys, the trade deadline is March 6th.
Yep.
So it is.
Man, I wish it was tomorrow. I wish it was tomorrow. That'd be fun.
No, I need it to be. I need a week. I need to see the Avs. The trade deadline is 1 p.m., which is 5 hours before the Avs play the Dallas Stars next Friday. That's when it is.
Man, a trade on a Friday and a Mikko Rantanen game is giving me flashbacks.
I know. Could you imagine if they trade for Nazem Kadri like the day before and then Naz shows up in Dallas wearing 91 for the Avs? How sick that would be. But it would only be sick if Calgary retains salary.
Yeah. Could you imagine if Naz is playing for the Stars that night?
Oh, I know I can't. No, I can't. Don't do that to me. I've seen Jordan Binnington's name thrown around the trade rumor mill as well. So there's a chance that he might be shipped off to a contender. I don't know if St. Louis is going to do that. I still think St. Louis is kind of like lying in wait, hoping they can get a free agent in the offseason. They can hit on some of their draft picks. I've seen Robert Thomas's name thrown out there. I go, why would you trade that dude?
He's also expensive. He's like $8+ million.
Yeah, he is. He's a pricey player. He'd fit
Um,
really well in the Avs, but you would have to get retention, and there's no way St. Louis is doing that.
yeah, you know what, man? I mean, Trocheck runs through 28, 29.
But I think
O'Reilly's just got one more year. O'Reilly from a money, O'Reilly makes the most sense. The only problem is Nashville's like they were kind of above St. Louis in terms of maybe thinking they can stay in this thing.
I think that would be a mistake from both teams.
To get O'Reilly?
No, I think
What?
it's a mistake for Nashville, St. Louis, and
Oh, I
Calgary
gotcha.
to think that, like, I know Nashville's only 2 points out, but like,
Mm-hmm.
what does Nashville think they're going to do in the 8 seed against Colorado?
True. It's
Like,
like
instead
that,
of
like
trading Ryan O'Reilly for a future first or a prospect, like, you're going to keep him and you're going to play 5 games in the second week of April?
no, you gotta, in all likelihood, yes, Nashville's not winning a cup this year. It would take a crazy run that is virtually impossible. We've seen 8 seeds, and hey, it is Stamkos and Yossi and Saros. Maybe, but like 99.9%, no. So yeah, you would actually be wise to unless you're yeah, you should. Like if you're just the hard truth, when you got to look yourself in the mirror is, dude, we got to trade him. And he would be great because $4.5 million and it's up after next year, which yeah, you'll extend Kale in the offseason, but that money doesn't kick in until the following year. So then
Yep.
O'Reilly's off the books, Kale's money kicks in. Like it
Kulak's
would
off
be
the
perfect.
books.
And O'Reilly is like he's my favorite. I love Nas, but O'Reilly does have this way about him. We talked about it when when they had that win against the Avs. He had such a great game, and you could see his veteran savvy. I would love it. Honestly, he's probably at the top of my wish list. Would be Ryan
I'm okay
O'Reilly.
with him being at the top of your wish list. I from a salary cap standpoint, from a flexibility standpoint, from a now what he doesn't do is he doesn't fill the left-handed. He's a left-handed shot, right? Isn't he a left-handed centerman?
Yes, he's a left-handed, but I know exactly what you're going to say, Raj. Nobody's going to fill that role.
Right. There isn't a guy on the trade block who you can get that is going to fill in that one-timer role on the opposite
Yep.
side. He does bring in, like, he might be the best net front player in the NHL. He might be.
Yeah, and if he's on your third line, if that's your 3C,
Sick.
that scares the shit out of me if I'm an opposing team. You
And
look
then
at
you're
that
kind of,
roster card and you see O'Reilly 3C, you're shitting your pants.
aren't you kind of forced to change the power play as well if you bring him?
Well, you certainly are giving him a chance. You're certainly seeing what he would look like net front.
You put two bodies net front. You put him and Gabe Landeskog next to each other and dare the other team to go, I'm just going to throw pucks at the net. And if you can beat those two guys, good for you.
That would maybe be the best net front power play combo in NHL history. If you had Gabe Landeskog and Ryan O'Reilly,
be pretty good.
Are you kidding me?
Be pretty good.
So yeah, that's my guy. That's who
you
I
can
want.
play. You could play an umbrella with that. You put Nate and Gabe. Sorry, Nate and Gabe. You put Gabe and O'Reilly in front of the net. You have Kale up top. You have McKinnon here, and you have Brock Nelson right here. And you essentially just play pitch and catch between the three guys at the top. And what you're hoping to do is open up the middle of the ice, get the puck to Kale so he can take a quick step in, make someone miss, and then fire a puck at the net. So you have two guys in front of net, and then the opposite forward who isn't making that pass up to Kale is creeping in, waiting for that shot off the far side pad. That could be a really fun way to do it. You don't run a box plus one. You don't run a 1-3-1. You run an umbrella.
I love it. I'm sold. Where do I sign up? Can I sign on the dotted line right now? Like, man, we just hopefully not. That depends on if Nashville has the wherewithal or the awareness. Hopefully they do. Hopefully, and I'm selling out. I'm going all in on that guy.
All right, Spring. Disappointing loss, but so much more to talk about. Like I feel like our next 5 shows are going to be react to the game for a little bit, 15 minutes, and then trade deadline,
Yeah.
rumors. Moves are going to really start happening this weekend. I don't think it's going to be one that we wait until like the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. I think you're going to see some movement this weekend. I don't know if it's going to be from Colorado, but I think you're going to see some blood going, right? Like this league has been sitting dormant for 3 weeks. Everyone's back and it comes so quickly. Like it is a week from tomorrow. That is just like that. So we'll talk to you guys on Saturday evening after the Avs take on the Chicago Blackhawks, looking to bounce back. Again, 1 of 6 on the power play since coming back from the Olympic break. I told you they need to be at 20 to 25%, and they're not quite there yet.
Hey, I will never stop believing. Tomorrow is the day. Saturday is the day. And then, a month from now, I'm going to be like, Tuesday's the day. And then I'm going to die of malnourishment and dehydration.
All right, Spring, get out of here. We'll see you on
All right,
Saturday,
man.
my friend.